Hello, eRank. Welcome to another live Q&A, where today we will be going over, what was it, the anatomy of a good Etsy? I can't remember.
We just said it. We just said it.
So Etsy dropped an article a couple of weeks ago, going through step by step what's good about a listing, what to look out for, and they gave it a name that just will not stick in our heads. But yeah, we're going to look into that. We already have a couple of good questions over on Facebook about it as well. So if any of you aren't in our Facebook group, there should be a link in the description of this video. And every week we ask for your questions about everything to do with eRank and Etsy. But when we've got a specific subject, if you've got any questions on that, even better. So if you want to know anything about an Etsy listing, because we are going to be absolute experts by the end of this.
Absolutely. And did you put the link to that in the description? If not, I can pop it.
I can't remember. I did mean to. I might have done. I might have it up. Yes, I did put it. I did put the link in the description. Thank you for the reminder. Yes.
So you guys can follow along, or maybe, take a glance at it if you have any questions. I did, just because it popped up, and Meredith, I don't want your question to get buried since we're about to jump into a topic, but she had asked that she's listened to a zillion videos about how many products you should have to start in your store. And there's not much consensus of opinion. What's your recommendation? There's no consensus of opinion because there is no magical number. If it's not listed, it can't.
At least one. Yeah.
At least one. Exactly. There's no magic numbers. There is a shop, and I talk about it on my channel a lot, that they have one set of bookends. They have no shop banner, no logo, nothing in their shop, no about section, no branding. They have this specific set of bookends, and they only sell this set of bookends, and they sell these bookends multiple times a day. That's all they sell. Hundreds of sales just on this set of bookends. It's the only thing that's in the shop. So should you have more listings than that? Probably. You should probably have more than one. But when it comes to launching your store, just list what you have ready and trickle out more. There is no magic number. And in fact, I see more shops fail who have 6,000 listings because, for one, it's really hard for you to put a lot of time and effort into products. So you're focusing on quantity over quality. And that's usually a big indicator of someone who's destined to fail, just because if you're not passionate about what you're making, then why should customers be? And for two, it's expensive. If you're listing that many products, you might not think that 20 cents is a lot of money, but it can be a lot of money when you've got a gazillion items listed and you're not selling it.
Adds up. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I don't know where the advice came from. It's probably from people looking at Google or social media and repeating advice there. People talk about get to 100 listings, get to 1,000 listings. Here's a quick way to make 10 listings a day. Yeah, run away from that. Because if you're making an absolute ton of listings, where's your time to go in and then have a look at your listings and see what was working and make your next lot be better? So it's probably good to have more than one, unless you really know what you're doing. You have a big following somewhere. You found the absolute right one. So it's probably good to have more than one. Get up your listing and then work on your next thing. And then a month, 2 months later, go back and look at your listing and make your next listings be better based on what your first listing got. But yeah, just a minimum of one is what you need for an active shop. And you can, on eRank, if you go to the competition tool and look at top sellers, you can do the drop down to get to shops that opened in 2025 and look at the top sellers there. There's a lot of dodgy stuff on there just now. Etsy needs to do a cleanup, but you will see that they don't all have thousands of listings and they're getting thousands of sales. So yeah, there's no minimum, no maximum, just more than one.
Uplifting Sparks said, I just got done watching Starla's video on the Printify Sellers Club. I didn't know I had a video in the Printify Sellers Club. Wait, what video was it? I'm sure it's something that they've emailed me about. I looked it up and it doesn't show. It doesn't show on there, but let me know, what was the video? Now I'm curious. I did a video for them about Etsy SEO, so I'm just curious which one they ended up putting.
Yeah, we generally have to ask Jessica or Bryan what video what have we done, because they have a better idea of what we've done than we do.
Oh yeah, it's on the Etsy boot camp, the SEO part 1 and 2. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So we have several questions coming into the chat. Guys, if you don't mind, we'll probably go ahead and hop into the topic, and then we will come back to this. Oh, and Lynn had said the Printify video was on branding. I did that too. I've got SEO videos. I got branding videos. If you go to their YouTube channel, I'm in a bunch of videos over there. But the boot camp that Uplifting Spark was referring to, if you pay to be in their sellers club, you get access to their boot camp, and I do the SEO lessons on their boot camp. But
Cool.
anyway,
I didn't know that. Excellent. I actually found out I'm on a video on the Printify channel as well. I didn't realize. I did an interview with them ages ago, and then I didn't hear anything. And when I was watching you on the end of last year on their live thing, which if you haven't seen, Starla was their key speaker. She did awesome. But after that, obviously Printify videos were popping up, and I was like, hang on, that's me. When did they get there?
man, sometimes I just scroll past things and my face is on them on social media, and it's eerie.
Yeah.
Like for this Q&A, I scroll past a picture that Pam posted and I'm in it, and I'm just like, you know what, my face is all over the place. Anyway, so for those of you who are asking questions, I promise we will get back to you, but we'll go ahead and cover this anatomy of a well-crafted Etsy listing article, since this came out on January 28th and there's a lot of questions about it. Pam, are we going to screen share it, or? Oh, okay. Well, you're way ahead of me then.
Yep. So if you haven't seen it, links in the description of this video. 28th of January. Etsy brought this out. Cool. Thank you. So it's just showing us all the steps of what they consider a well-crafted Etsy listing. So all of the sections. So there's some cool bits here, I think. Obviously, listing images is number one, and I think there's a good reason for that. Your listing images are so important. I think 9 times out of 10, if you aren't getting sales, it's probably because of your images above everything else. Like, before you start thinking about your prices or everything else, look and see how good you can always improve your photographs. I know, I definitely can. So something they started talking about last year when they gave us our visibility bit in the dashboard. So if you're looking to optimize your first listings for search engines, avoid text overlays, collages, or collections of images for your first thumbnail. So yes, Etsy definitely dislikes anything to do with that. And I believe someone can let me know, but like Google Shopping doesn't like things like text overlays as well.
They do not.
Yep. I keep reading up on Google Shopping, and then it just doesn't stick in my head. I don't know why. And suggesting you can add up to 10 photos using all 10 images may increase your conversion rate. So this is a thing. People look and they go, oh, why is this top seller? They've only got 1 photo. Up to 10 photos can increase your conversion. People might really love to be able to look through all the photos. It absolutely helps them fall in love with your item. Definitely, Etsy were saying last year the number of listings, you need at least 1. But they used to talk about needing at least 5 to have a complete listing. So
yeah, and it's, this is where I always talk about like the lottery ticket analogy, where every single listing photo is a lottery ticket. That's an opportunity to convert that shopper into a buyer. And your goal as a seller is to keep that shopper on your listing page for as long as possible. Glancing at one photo, that's not going to keep them there for longer. You want them to scroll through, and 10 photos, that's 10 opportunities. So if I walked up to you and I had a handful of lottery tickets, I had 10 lottery tickets, and I said, how many of these would you like? You know, each one is a possibility to win. How many would you like? And you said, I'll just take one. You've chosen to only take one opportunity to potentially win that sale. Making sure that you are filling out all of your photos is like saying, I'll take all 10, because then you are increasing your odds of converting, which is what Etsy's saying. It's not like an algorithm is going to award you with a sale because, oh, good job, you got 10 photos. That's not how it works. A human, though, who's looking at all 10 of those photos is more likely to convert into a customer because you have convinced them with those photos by keeping them on your listing for longer, leaving them to ponder that purchase.
Yeah, and this is, if you see in any of the Etsy stuff, they're talking about things could increase your conversion rate. This is, they're saying people like this. They're not saying the algorithm. I've seen some shops have one photo and then they just duplicate that photo 10 times. That is not helping customers. The algorithm doesn't care about that. It doesn't rank you higher because you put 10 photos. And it doesn't help your customer to have 10 identical photos. In fact, if I saw a listing like that and I clicked on it and it just had one photo repeated 10 times, I would be out of there. I'd be like, there's something shady going on here. They either don't have much attention to detail or they're trying to game the system.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps people understand and fall in love with your item. Like, where can you use it? What does it look good beside? Give a close-up of the material. What's it look like on the back? You know, all the things, size charts, any details. It can be cool to even just show your item in its packaging, you know, how you're going to ship it to people. Etsy has whole articles on, in fact, the 7 essential types of product photos Etsy has there. So there's lots of good information here, but this last bit is a bit that they talk about as sort of ranking factors. Well, people ask, what size should photos be? So the Etsy do say your first listing photo should have a width and height of at least 635 pixels to avoid showing up lower in searches. So make sure it's higher than 635 pixels, wide and tall. And that doesn't sound like much, but I actually found quite a few of my listings are below that because I'd used Photo Fuse a few years ago to remove the backgrounds, and the photos that they were sending over were lower resolution. I didn't realize that because they did it automatically in the behind scenes. And they recommend your listing photos have a width and height of at least 2000 pixels or more to make them pop to buyers. So yeah, check your photos, guys, but 2000 pixels is a good size, and most of your photo editing should allow you to change that very easily. If you're not sure of whatever photo editing you're using, just Google, how do I change the resolution of this picture? How do I resize this picture?
Yeah, you can do it in Canva super fast.
Exactly. Listing title is the second. I think of these now. Etsy hasn't said these are in order of importance, but it is kind of important. Your photo's really important. Title, I see that as your prime real estate because your title works for the algorithm. It's how Etsy understands what your listing is. But equally as important or more important, your customers can read the title. The title tells the customer what your item is. So it can be involved in ranking and converting. So shoppers only see the first few words of your title when they're looking at search results. So think what's most important at the front. And yeah, I wish Etsy would be a little more clear about what they mean by all these things, but all shops are different, all listings are different, so we just have to experiment. But yes, be descriptive and specific. Use keyword-rich phrases that potential buyers would type in. So if you're wondering where to get keyword-rich phrases, eRank can help you there. things like our keyword tool, you can look into competitors' listings, you can see their tags, their titles, get an idea of keywords, and we show you the competition, the search volume, and everything to help you find decent keywords. Include important details. Material, color, size. Oh, excuse me, I'm losing my voice.
Oh no. Let me know if you need assistance. It's very small on my screen. That's why I'm not really helping you out.
No, I'm just trying not to choke.
Don't
I
die.
should have just had another coffee. Yeah, where did we get to? Yeah, think about what's important, materials, color, size, and whether the item can be customized or personalized. Etsy's unique selling point, it's still talking about, is the fact that there's so much personalized stuff on Etsy. So I would always lead with that fact somewhere right at the start of your title. Now this is where I wish Etsy would explain a little more. They used to say keep it short and concise. Now they're saying keep it concise. But Etsy allows up to 140 characters, so use them widely and avoid keyword stuffing, as it can make the title difficult to read. Remember, when you add attributes and tags, these keywords are factored into search ranking, so avoid too much repetition. In the Etsy SEO thing, they were very clear on this, and we've spoke about this many times. When you're making a title, it doesn't matter if you're selling earrings, you're going to say the word earring more than once, probably. That's fine. But you don't have to say like butterfly earrings, gold butterfly earrings. Putting the phrase gold butterfly earrings covers you for butterfly earrings. So don't repeat and repeat and repeat. If you can make your title a little more conversationally, like how you would explain to someone what your item is while including the keywords, rather than make it look like Timo wrote it. But there's so many different ways to do titles. Different things work in different niches. I think if you're selling wedding dresses, it will probably look less good if you have a very keyword stuff title than if you're selling like kiddies' earrings or something. Just experiment and see.
For the most part, though, with titles, don't panic. Nothing's changed. These are the best practices that hopefully, if you guys follow Etsy's Ultimate Guide to Search, you've been doing from the get-go.
That's it. Nothing's changed, really. They've just, in the titles and everything, it's all exactly the same. I think they're just trying to explain things a little better. Price, to be perfectly honest, I don't even want to look too much into that. You have to price what you have to price.
Well, they also talk about shipping prices. And so I don't know if you saw it, Pam, but on Tuesday, I actually created a video on the psychology of free shipping offers. And I went into 2 different college studies, one of which being a Harvard study on free shipping offers. So that's something that I would highly recommend watching if you guys are interested in learning more about how that free shipping offer connects to shoppers and what it actually does to the human brain. It was a really interesting study. But for the most part, this hasn't changed at all. It's just Etsy has an immense amount of internal data on what their customers connect to, because they track every single purchase on their platform. It's not data that we have access to, but it is data that they use in order to make suggestions to us. And their data shows that yes, customers are more likely to complete a purchase if it says free shipping, even if the cost, if you were to roll the cost into your product and the cost turns out to be exactly the same, regardless, people are still more likely to purchase the item at a higher price point if it says free shipping. multiple colleges did, studies on this to see, because obviously the thought is like, customers can't be that dumb, right? Like they can't. And it's not that they're dumb, it's just that our brains connect with free shipping, and it's speculated that the reason that we connect with it is it brings us back to our in-person shopping roots, where if we go into a store and we buy something, we don't expect to pay shipping on it. What it costs is what it costs, plus, a little bit of tax. And you don't feel like, you just walk in and grab it. So when we see a shipping price on screen, it almost feels like we're being duped, like we're, it's a hidden cost that we aren't expecting. So again, if you're interested in that, check it out on my channel. But in terms of Etsy's algorithm and the pricing and things, nothing has really changed, though Etsy does prioritize listings that ship free in mobile search.
They kind of removed that without
they?
saying they've stopped it. Yeah, in the places where it was, they're more mentioning priority placement for, what is it, US domestic shipping for under $6 and under shipping.
I get a lot of free shipping on mobile, so I don't know. They
probably didn't change it, but they've definitely talked about it less since the Etsy Insider thing.
Yeah, I forgot about Etsy Insider.
Yeah. So, yeah, but also, I guess the thing with free shipping as well, and watch Starla's video, all the psychology on this is so interesting. The other thing is sellers have poisoned this well, not just on Etsy, but eBay, Amazon, definitely eBay, because how often have you looked at something and you're comparing things and you go, yes, I'll buy this one, and you click on it. How much shipping? Right. No. So, I mean, I hate how Etsy's pushed free shipping, but I also pay for Prime to get free shipping. I also filter on eBay for free shipping. So I hate myself there. But that's because of what sellers have done to us. We prefer to see everything. We prefer to know, which is fair enough.
Meredith had asked what Etsy Insider is. I'll go ahead and drop the link. But basically, it's like think of it as like Amazon Prime for Etsy.
But it's still in beta. It's only invite only for chosen sellers. I think Bryan got invited to it on one of his shops.
What a brat.
Well, it's not actually, because I think they were only inviting people who are sort of, I can't remember the term for it, but it's like intermittent shoppers. They don't want the big shoppers because they're already shopping. They don't want people who don't shop. They want people who only shop a couple of times a year to convince them to shop a bit more. So, you didn't shop enough, Bryan. That's how you got invited.
I'm too big of a shopper. I do buy a lot on Etsy. I shop on Etsy a lot.
It's sad to say I don't. I keep having bad experiences. So guys, do better. Every time I keep going, I have to buy on Etsy. It's like my entire thing is helping people sell on Etsy. And then I go and buy something, and like 2 months later it turns up. Like,
you're a hypocrite, Pam.
I know, terrible, isn't it? I'll have to buy from you guys. You guys are good. We want the good sellers. Okay, delivery time is an important factor for shoppers. Yes. Yes, sadly it is. This is a balance because we have to ship on time. That's a factor that Etsy is going to hold against us. Basically, if we say too quick delivery time and we can't get out there, I know I pushed my shipping times back. Etsy have changed how they're showing things to buyers, so it's impossibly tight and stuff arrives late. And also, after the unpleasantness in 2020, I realized if you say next day, you can't always get out next day. Let's be honest and give yourself a couple of days to get to the post office. So yeah, make sure your shipping time's as quick as it fairly can be, basically. Oh, this was a different one that I've never seen before. I don't know if you spotted this, Starla. Shop policies. So we knew having shop policies can have a positive effect on your search placement. So Etsy ranks you good for having filled up, but using Etsy's shop policy template can give you an additional boost. That was new on me.
And you know what's funny about it being new is that you have to use their templates, and you've had to use their templates since 2015. I looked it up because I'm like, we've had to use their templates forever. So now they're saying, hey, if you use our templates, you seller who's been on Etsy, over 10 years.
Yeah, me.
My first shop was, yeah,
Yeah.
we used to be able to write our policies however the heck we wanted. You could throw anything in there, and now it's a template. So if you started your shop before 2015, that might be something you want to look into. Go into your shop editor. Hopefully, if you've been there since 2015, you know how to do that already. Go into your shop editor and see if you have the option to switch to a template. But if not, you probably don't need to worry about it because you're already stuck with the template. It's just odd that they mentioned that.
It was very strange. I have never seen them mention that at all. It would have made sense to mention it in 2015, but that's the first time I've ever seen that. And unless anyone else has seen it, let us know. But that was weird for me. Listing descriptions. Again, here they're saying help convert views to sales. If somebody's searched or somebody's seen your listing and liked the picture and the title enough to click on it, your description is one of your final factors that can encourage them to buy or chase them away. Keep it, Etsy is saying, keep them short, informative, but still engaging. I'll say yes and no on the short. Don't waffle on, but I have get everything at the top that's the most important. It's what they talk about in newspapers above the fold. Get the important things right there, right at the front, so people can get their questions answered. But I have found some real handcrafted stuff. And further down in their description, it talks about their inspiration for the piece, how they made the piece, a whole load of things. And I found myself sitting reading stuff. If you write well, I've found myself reading all of that and absolutely loving it. So just depends what your buyers like, really. But yes, I'm just thinking there used to be someone that used to sell, it was hair cushions, like cushions in the shape of hairs, and she did a lot of work rescuing hairs and stuff, and she always had a little story at the bottom of each listing about the hair that had inspired that cushion. I read every single one of her listings. Yeah, this bit here is interesting. Etsy has mentioned this, but not quite as clearly as this. Etsy Search considers keywords and phrases within your listing descriptions when ranking your listings, the second phase of search ranking within Etsy search algorithm. So they said they were including descriptions in your SEO, but what they're saying is the second phase of search ranking. So if you don't know, Etsy considers its algorithm in two stages. I think of it in three, but we'll go for two stages. So the first is the matching algorithm, and that is the big stupid dummy of an algorithm that whatever a person types into search, it just trawls through every single listing on Etsy and goes, do you have those words somewhere in the title, tags, description, attribute? Well, no, title, tags, attributes, not the description, because it's not, it's in the second phase. So do I have these words anywhere? Yes. So I'm going to gather them all up and bring them on to the second phase. So the second phase is ranking, and it's saying descriptions are used in the ranking phase. So that's just backing it up. That's saying that, yes, this person searched for this thing, and this isn't just a random phrase that has words included all over the place in your listing. This is exactly an exact match for what you're talking about. So it's just backing it up. But do not
fits with what Andrew Stanton said in that Etsy Up event from March of 2023. I know that seems like a long time ago, but it's the only place that we really have. And, anything that comes from Andrew Stanton, I kind of consider gospel, because he is the Etsy head of search. And he said, and it's the only place you can find it is in this Etsy Up event. He says that descriptions are not used for query matching, which is, stage one, the keyword matching phase. Instead, they're used to figure out if a customer has a certain affinity or preference towards a product. So this just further outlines exactly what he said. And Etsy's finally saying something about it, that they're not just looking for you to keyword stuff it and shove, all your title keywords into your description. It's more of an opportunity to add context into your listings.
Yeah, exactly. So they're absolutely saying, don't copy your title and paste it into the description. That has been bad practice for years and years. I used to do it many years ago. I don't think it was ever good practice, but it's been seen as keyword stuffing for a long time. Don't just put a load of tags. People do that and think they're doing good, just write out the tags. You want to describe your item in your description. So whatever your keywords are should describe your item. So just do a little short couple of sentences describing your item as if you were explaining it to a person. And then use your description for the things that people need to know. Care instructions, what's it made of, what's it for, why did you make it, anything that's needed. Any questions that you get, if people are messaging you, asking you the same thing, put it in your description so that you just don't have to keep answering, because it's not good if people have to message you. Because I'm making up numbers here on the spot. These aren't real statistics, but for every one person that gets into your listing goes, I wonder about that thing, I'm going to message Starla about it, 10 people have said, that's too difficult, I'm going to go to somebody else's listing because I don't understand this one.
Or
Those
if they
aren't
message
real
you in the
numbers.
middle of the night and you're not there and they're ready to buy, they
Yeah,
might message you, but by the time you wake up, who's to say that they haven't moved on to buy from somebody else?
exactly. Average review rating, that is not something you can control directly like everything else in here, but we know you want to get the best reviews you can. Somebody shared something on Facebook just this morning, actually, and it was someone had posted a review that they had. It was like a doctor or something. So and so just saved my life, 4 out of 5 stars. And he's like, what do I have to do to get 5 stars? Some people just don't give 5 stars. So there's nothing we can do, but we just have to do the best that we can. But lots of low star reviews will tank your ranking in search. Etsy will hold it against you. And to be honest, they will close your shop if you do too terribly. That makes absolute sense.
I've seen shops with 3 stars, and I don't see any shops with less than that. So I'm thinking that if you start getting to the point where you're around 3 stars, you're probably about to get the boot.
Yeah, that's it. Be very careful. Or if nothing else, below that, Etsy's not going to be showing you in search, because what they want to show, search isn't for us, the seller. Search is for Etsy to show the buyer the things they're going to want to buy. It's to make Etsy money and to bring people to the platform. So if you are consistently being trouble, if you're consistently having unhappy customers and having to refund and people yelling at Etsy customer support about your shop, why would Etsy keep showing your listings? You don't deserve it. I know, I know nobody here is in that boat anyway. So you're all good sellers. But yeah, just do the best you can to get good reviews. But don't be freaking out. There's people I need to get 5 stars. If someone leaves me 4 stars, I'll message them and offer them a refund or something. No. Some people are going to leave 4 stars. Some people are going to leave 3 stars. Do your best to make the customer happy without being bullied by them, basically. Yeah. and here's the word I can't say, attributes, attributes.
Attributes.
Yes. Well, I can't say Etsy, so let's just do. I can't do words. So these are the things. Once you tell Etsy what category your listing is in, it gives you some attributes to give some ideas of material, the colors, the occasions. If your item doesn't have a Santa hat on it, it's not for Christmas. Well, if it's not directly something very much for Christmas, it could just be a Christmas gift. You know, it's not for those occasions, and height and width and everything. So yeah, the attributes act a little like tags, but like if your item's a ring and it's in the category of rings, I assume there is a category of rings. I can't remember now. If it's in the category of rings, you're still going to say that your item's a ring in your title. You're still going to find a keyword phrase that has the word rings in it. But you don't need to just have the single tag of rings because it's already covered. Basically, what they're saying here.
Yeah, no changes to the algorithm when it comes to attributes, but you can leave some of them blank. That's something that I wish Etsy would point out, that like Pam said, if you know, on the occasion where it gives you all these different holidays, like Pam said, if your product doesn't have, if it's not Christmas themed, don't put a Christmas attribute on it just because it could make a good Christmas gift. That attribute is specifically for things themed in those holidays. We've got Easter and Mother's Day coming up. Don't put an Easter or Mother's Day attribute on a product just because you think, oh, this necklace might make a good Mother's Day gift. It's not relevant to that item, and you're drifting farther and farther away from relevancy, where you could just be really buckling down on things that are relevant to that listing. Like, for example, it's a gold necklace, or maybe it's got a flower on it and things like that.
Yeah, you can totally leave things blank. Most of my items are custom, and when I put in what I'm when I put in the category, it's coming up with primary color. I don't know. Customer's going to tell me the color. You know, it's custom dogs. I don't know what color your dog's going to be, so I can't add these things, and that's absolutely fine. Tags. This is the big one. So each tag is an opportunity to appear in a shopper's search. So yes, tags are the one place that it's all about the algorithm, really, because in general, unless they're using a tool like eRank, customers can't see your tags. Well, occasionally Etsy shows them, but in general, customers can't see your tags, so they're important for the algorithm rather than the customer. Etsy does say unused or irrelevant tags are missed opportunities. So yeah, if you can add 13 tags, if you only add 3, the keywords that you have in the 3 tags that you have are not penalized because you don't have 13. You will rank just as strongly for each of the 3 that you have. It's just the other 10 that you could have had are other places you could have been ranking. They're other opportunities to get seen.
More
So
lottery
again,
tickets.
well, exactly, more lottery tickets. Well, that's, yeah, perfect analogy, because if you have the winning lottery ticket, you're not going to not win the lottery because you didn't have other tickets. That's, Etsy's not marking you down on not having them, but you absolutely should fill in all your tags because it's just a wasted opportunity if you don't. Now, here's where Etsy's saying something that they've never said before, and I will reiterate what Starla's been saying all along. The algorithm hasn't changed. Nothing has changed here. Just what they're saying is different. They might have reasons why they're changing what they're saying, but nothing has currently changed. So don't freak out. But we will mention it because they're saying it. It says your tags should be multi-word phrases and use natural sounding language. A rule of thumb to follow: if you can't imagine someone typing a phrase into Google, it shouldn't be in your tags. So I know some people will be freaking out when they see that, because we do know the algorithm mixes and matches terms from across your titles, your tags, and your attributes. So you could have one word in your title, one word in your tags, and Etsy can mash them together. So some people have a tag strategy that is just to put in all the relevant words and let Etsy figure out the phrases. That still works. It has always been the case that Etsy has told us that the more relevant your tag is to what people are searching for. So if it's the exact match for what people are searching for, you rank a little higher in search. But if you get thousands of sales, you'll rank higher in search regardless. So Etsy's not changed anything there. If your listings are still working, which I've not heard of anybody saying this isn't working for them, don't change things. But if you want to experiment with new things in a new listing, if your shop needs a bit of an overhaul, try some tags that are the full keyword. Try going for that exact match. And that's always been our advice. Like myself and Starla have said so many times, at least make your first few tags the phrases you're aiming for. It helps you know what you were aiming for. It gives you the exact match. And then at the end, throw in some relevant words, because none of us can think of 13 tags every time.
I get 8 great exact matches. It never fails. It's always 8 great exact matches. And then the rest of them, I just go crazy with the nonsense. So again, Etsy is still broad matching. I know that I've had a lot of people say like Etsy isn't broad matching anymore. That's not true. They are still broad matching, because broad matching, it helps to create extra opportunities, but it also helps Etsy to gather additional context that their algorithm needs. The algorithm is only going to get smarter. It's not going to get dumber. That's not how algorithms work. They can only get better over time. Whether or not you guys agree that it's better for Etsy. Etsy will make their algorithm better for them. But with that in mind, better for them means understanding the ins and outs of a listing, and broad matching is one additional step in that process. It's just that the exact matches, Etsy's outlining how important they are, which we've said from the get-go that if possible, aim for the exact matches. If you get to the point where you've got all your good exact matches done and you want to throw in some broad matches, that's fine too.
Yeah. And do not change, no matter what you hear in here, don't change listings that are working. Because as we said, Etsy's algorithm works in 2 phases. The first phase, the matching algorithm, is going to spot your listing because it has enough words in it. And the rest, the things you do to rank higher are all just pieces of the puzzle. So if Etsy's already spotted your listing and it knows what it's all about, and you're making tons of sales for a certain keyword, Etsy's not going to penalize you. Those sales rank you higher. That's like a big piece of the puzzle. Having the exact match in the tags is like a little piece of the puzzle that maybe would rank you a place higher or something, but it's not necessarily going to make a huge difference. So it's good practice to have your tags as the nice keywords, because it means when I'm snooping at your listing, I know what you were aiming for. It helps. You and your small business story. So fill in your about section, your brand story, tell the tale. Now, a fully filled in shop does, Etsy's told us, helps you rank higher, but it also helps you convert, especially in times when people are trusting sellers less. Yes. They're worrying about scammers. They're worrying about AIs, basically. So if you can show yourself what's inspiring you working on your products, then that can really help people to trust you. I'm like Etsy's even saying it can also spark unexpected opportunities, including press coverage, collaborations, and new opportunities. That's actually very true. Yeah. Like local press often have articles on someone who's doing great on Etsy or something, and yeah, they'll have found your shop and then had a wee nosy and gone, hey, Starla looks great. She's from here, and I can see she's a real person.
Yeah. helps to build those human connections. It's one of the things that when I'm doing shop critiques over on my channel, it's like the number one thing that I am a stickler about, because most of the shops that we look at are lacking an about section. So, or, their photos for their about section are all the same photos I just saw up in the storefront. It's a bunch of product photos. No, tell me something I don't know. That's what you're doing with your about section. You're sharing your story and you're helping me form a connection with you as the seller to help build trust. So it's an about you section. Tell me about you. Don't just continue trying to sell to me. It's not a place to sell. It's a place to form those connections. But Pam, we have 15 minutes and we have more questions we're going to be able to get through. And I have to go right at 4 on the dot. Do you want to try to speed round starting with the Facebook questions?
Yep. Shall we do it?
Yep. All right. Let's see how many we can get through. We'll try to keep them concise here. I'm losing my voice too. Sarah in the Facebook group had said, I won't be able to make it to the live, so I'll catch up tomorrow. But can I ask whether you have to break up your title and add those words to your tags? And do the tags all have to make sense from a search point of view? Or can you jumble your keywords across 13 tags? So we did kind of talk about that. Obviously, don't jumble all of your tags, but try to get some exact matches.
Yeah, and you want your superstar keywords in your title and in your tags. I've not seen Etsy change their mind about that yet.
Yeah, and breaking your title and add those words to your tags. Etsy tells us that all of the words that are in your title should be in your tags, but not everything that is in your tags needs to be in your title. That comes directly from the Ultimate Guide to Search. So assuming that you're filling your title out with the most important words, those words should be repeated in your tags, but you have more characters for tags than what you have for title. Not everything in your tags needs to also be in your title.
Yep.
Let's see. Heather had asked, a friend suggested that instead of keeping the default file number in my pictures, I should rename each image with a descriptive title or tags. This is great advice for a website. But if you go to Etsy right now and you right click on a photo within your shop and you save it, actually, I think it saves as a WebP file. But previously, if you tried to save it, you would notice that the file name that it defaults to when you save it to your desktop is a random combination of numbers and letters starting with the letter I. That's because Etsy renames all of these files. So yeah, there you go. Pam's got the metadata up.
I literally, when I saw this question, I took this photo out, renamed it as a name and put it back in. And this is inspecting the element. Etsy renames them. It takes in the name of your title of the listing and you get a string of numbers. The file name is not saved anywhere on this data.
No, but on a website, on a personal site, absolutely rename your files. Not only is it good for your own organization, being able to go back, into your back end and locate those files later if you need to, but yes, that is a great way to get those images indexed in like Google Imaging or Google Images and things like that. It is best practice to rename those files. And I've actually still been experimenting with that and it still works. So, but yeah, good advice. It's just that the person didn't know the proper platform.
Yeah.
Common mistake though, it's a big waste of time if you're just doing it for Etsy. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the chat. We'll do as many as we possibly can, though we probably won't get to all of them. Lorenzo and Michael both asked questions. Lorenzo said, Michael is saying by changing your SEO, it will directly affect your quality score. Why or why not? It won't affect your quality score. So your listing quality score is accumulated through positive interactions from shoppers. So things that positively contribute to your quality score are if somebody searches for your type of item and discovers it in search, Etsy's able to say, the keywords they searched for matched with this type of item. That means that this was in fact cat mug. If you search for cat mug, cool, that can help your quality score. If somebody, does that and then they click on your listing and they favorite it from an organic search, not if you tell all your friends to go favorite your listing, but if they discover it through an organic search, again, that tells Etsy that when, you know, Bob searched for a cat mug, he found your mug and he favored it. That can help a tiny bit. None of these are huge like huge bumps, but they are positives. The biggest things that positively affect your listing quality are the sales of an item and a good review of that item. Because what you're telling Etsy is someone loved this item enough that they paid money for it. And they left a good review, which means they're recommending it to others, which means that Etsy should then recommend that item to more people, because Etsy knows that they will probably make money on that item as well, because they get a cut of the pie. So does changing your SEO directly affect your quality score? No. Changing your SEO, what Michael, I'm assuming, is saying is that if you have a listing that's performing well, because Etsy's identified that you want to be known for this set of keywords and it's getting good sales, and you go in and change what you just told Etsy you want to be known for, then suddenly you've just told Etsy, I don't want to be known for those things that you were ranking me for. I want to be known for something else. And it can seem like your quality score has been affected, but what you've really done is just cut off the highway and put a big roadblock so that people can no longer use that highway to get to your listing. So it's not affect. Now your quality score, it can begin to tank after that, because then nobody's finding it and then it's sitting stagnant and it's not selling anymore. So you can lose ranking, but changing your SEO doesn't affect your quality score, but
yeah, well, if you had, like Starla said with the cat mug, if you were getting views and sales for people finding you for cat mug, and you took the word cat out of all of your title tags, everything, then the matching algorithm would no longer pick you up. So it can't show you for it, because you've absolutely removed the thing that was telling Etsy that's what your thing is. So you still have the great quality score for cat mug, but you're not being matched in search for it, so you're not being seen. But one thing that people do seem to worry, they think any change of SEO sort of resets their listing. Absolutely doesn't happen. But if you take out the thing that's helping Etsy know what your listing is, then it can tank it.
Yeah. And in the chat, Michael asked, can you find your quality score somewhere? And Alexandra said on eRank on listing audits, no, you can't see your quality score. It's a secret metric, but you can sense it. If you've ever made a sale of a listing and then that listing mysteriously sells again, like a couple hours later, and it's a listing that normally wouldn't sell, that's a good indication that you've just gotten a little boost on your quality score, and that listing's being, you know, shown to more people, because Etsy noticed that it sold, and then they're going to try to show it to more people because they want to see if they can get that sale for you again. So
our listing audit is not your quality score. It's nobody has that metric. The only thing I'd say, if you want to see your quality score for a certain keyword, it's not the exact quality score, but if you use the rank checker to look for your listing with that keyword, how you are ranked is based on your quality score. So if you are ranked 6 steps ahead of your competitor, 6 places ahead, then your quality score is better than theirs for that keyword.
Yes. And that was a great question a little bit ago from Technical Boss. I don't know if you're still here, but this kind of ties in, because they'd ask, when I search for these keywords directly on Etsy, I'm unable to locate my listings. The discrepancy is concerning, as I followed best practices for SEO and ensured that my listings are proper. You are not going to see an organic set of results by searching for your own listings on Etsy, because every search is catered per shopper, per IP address, per location. So even if you're using an incognito window, even if you're using a VPN, even if you're signed out, there's still locational data tied to whatever IP you are logged in from. And if you're on a VPN, you're getting an IP just somewhere else. So you're seeing data that's catered for a UK audience or an Australian audience. The only way to strip that layer of personalization and see your organic, non-personalized rank is with eRank's rank checker, because we have a data stream directly from Etsy's API where we're able to show you that before Etsy blankets the personalization on top of it. And I get asked a lot, well, how is that helpful if we're not seeing, you know, what our shoppers see? It represents an average. So you know that, like Pam said, if you are ranking on page 1, position 10 for a great keyword, and you're seeing that in the rank checker, that means that that's probably not the listing that you want to be tinkering with your SEO, you know, on. That's one that you might want to let sit. Or if it's not selling, maybe you realize that it's not the SEO that's the problem. Maybe you need to try a different thumbnail.
Yeah. And if you use the rank checker and you're still not seeing your listings ranking for those keywords, and you followed all the best practices, it could be the keywords are just too competitive. Like, none of us are going to be able to rank a listing for the word ring, because that's super competitive. Every ring on Etsy is relevant for the keyword ring, so Etsy's only going to show the best of the best, and that's not any of us, I'm afraid. So perhaps look for slightly lower competition keywords.
Exactly. And then Michael had said, I make one-of-a-kind handmade jewelry. What can I change in a sold Etsy listing to relist the item and make sure the listing quality score is not changed? You only want to do that if you're listing the same item or something that is insanely similar, because sometimes if you're working with gemstones, for example, no two natural amethyst stones are going to be identical. But you could always say, due to the unique nature of amethyst stones, each product or your product might be different than the one pictured. But if you're selling a completely different item and you're just trying to swap it out, Etsy doesn't like that. You're technically not supposed to do that, because anyone who has previously favorited that original item, suddenly their favorites are not going to reflect what that item is now. And this happened to me. I favorited a bracelet, and that bracelet eventually was swapped out for a very not safe for work piece of jewelry for a female body part. And my daughter was in the room, who was very small at the time. So I'm scrolling through my Etsy favorites, and there was a picture there that I did not want her to see. So just keep in mind that, you can also really upset customers just depending on what you sell. If they're looking at something and they're like, I didn't favorite this. So that's why Etsy doesn't want you to do it.
And that is a trick for all of us who make actually one-of-a-kind things. Can you repeat what you were making? And that way you can have a listing that it's not mass manufactured. You can very much use it as a feature to say, everyone's going to be slightly different. This is my most popular range, but yours will be slightly different due to natural variations. So it's a one of a kind. But yeah, if it's not a similar thing and you change out your keywords, you're going to do what we just talked about. You're going to take yourself, that matching algorithm's going to go, no, that's not a cat mug anymore. And so your listing score hasn't changed. It's just had the rug pulled completely out of it. Etsy doesn't know what your item is anymore.
Yeah. Urban casual wear, I'm going to go ahead and just redirect you to last week's Q&A, because we literally talked about this the entire Q&A about niches. So definitely check that out. Uplifting Spark, I know you've asked a lot of questions. We probably won't get to them all, but you had said, is it better to post on a schedule, like post on a specific day, weekly, or does that not matter? Anthony, our CEO at eRank, actually is on board with identifying a day within your Etsy stats that seems to be more popular than others and listing on that day. I personally don't notice a huge difference when I do that, because it's more of momentum over time for me. Anthony's coming more from the brainy, mathematical, analytical side. I'm coming more from the I'll do whatever the heck I want when I want side. I don't think it's going to make a significant difference, but it won't hurt you. So
I've never seen it make a massive difference. Yeah, you can experiment with it, but I've never heard it be a big deal. And if Etsy was seeing it being a big deal, they would be suggesting it. Quite a lot of other tools, social media and everything, will tell you when your peak times to post are, because they may or may not have seen a difference. I post it when it's convenient for you. Experiment with it and let us know, in fact, if you're doing that much.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Yeah, Michael had asked where to learn how to use eRank. This channel, there's tons of videos. Just maybe don't watch the Q&As because they're longer and less in depth, but go into the shorter content. We've got tons of videos.
And tell us what you want. We're working on making tons more videos. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you want, and we will. Yeah, we're going to be getting loads more up soon.
Exactly. And then Vicky, we'll go ahead and get to yours. And then after this, guys, join us next week. I think that maybe next week, Pam, we do an open Q&A since there were so many questions this week.
Yep.
That way you guys can come back, bring your questions back. If you need them answered, take them to the eRank group. It's linked down below, or just head over to Facebook and search eRank group. And you can also post them there. But if you feel like, you want to hear it from us, come back on Thursday and we'll just do an open Q&A since it seems like we've got a big audience this week.
Yep.
But Vicky had said, won't photos that are clear and easy to see be considered good photos? I use mock-ups and they're clear and easy for the buyers. So here's my opinion on this. Yes and no. And I'm speaking as somebody who also does POD, but I do not use very many mock-ups. The reason for this is that I know that as somebody who frequently shops on Etsy, and I shop for POD items a lot, I get sick of the exact same mock-ups over and over and over again. They don't tell me anything because I know that that's a mock-up. I want to know what this shirt actually looks like on a real human being. Mugs and things, not as big a deal. But when it comes to shirts and things, I can tell just immediately that that's a mock-up. I've seen that mock-up a gazillion times. Though the photo is arguably good because it's a mock-up, sometimes those mock-ups, they just cause me to scroll right past because I'm fatigued. Now, she said, I make most of my own mock-ups. That is what I recommend if you need to use mock-ups. Go into Canva, play around with it, have some fun with it. In my shop, the few photos where I use mock-ups, I completely make them myself. I brand them myself, and I make sure that they fit my niche so that they don't look like anything else that any other sellers have, because then I know that I'm going to stand out in search pages. It also, you can tell that I'm putting time into them. And the goal of a mock-up is ultimately so someone looks at it and they don't just immediately say that's a mock-up. You don't want them to know it's a mock-up. Like, that defeats
Yep.
the purpose of a mock-up. And if you're just using the same mock-ups over and over again, then it's going to be really clear that it's a mock-up. So it sounds like you are doing what you should be doing, which is standing out, doing something different.
But customers get savvy to this as well. A lot of big marketing people now are seeing that photos and videos, people for product photos and videos, people are much preferring things that they consider not as good quality, because people have got burned so many times with beautiful mock-ups and then they don't get the thing. They prefer, like, why are TikTok videos 90% of them people holding up their phone and pointing it randomly at stuff and it's all shaky, when we can, all of us have access to video editing things that we could make it look slick, but people have got burnt by that. We want stuff that we know isn't AI, so that we know isn't just reproduced. It would be better to see your item in what you consider not such a great photograph. Maybe the lighting's not so good, it's not so great, but people go, that's what the print's going to look like. That's what it really looks like.
Yeah. And even Kat said, I don't buy clothing if the image is a mock-up. It tells me the seller hasn't actually seen the product, tested it, washed it, ironed it, etc., and has no idea of the item quality. I make sure that I buy one of every single item. And if for any reason, I'm introducing new products and I can't get a mock-up, I will buy I can't, buy all of the items. Like, I think I've got a bunch of tumblers in my shop. I bought 4 different ones, and I think that we listed 8. The other 4, I know by buying 4 that the other 4 designs are good, and I'm confident in those mock-ups. But yeah, Kat, completely agree. I'm the same way. And the first place that I look, if it is mock-ups and I'm interested in the piece of clothing, I go down to the customer photos so I can actually see what it will look like. Isn't it easier to just take that step out of the equation and try to get organic photos yourself? I know it's expensive. I'm speaking from a place of privilege there, because I do have the ability to purchase those mock-ups, or not those mock-ups, those sample products. And I know that not everybody has the ability to do that, but when possible, at least try to order one. You know, if you've got 20 t-shirts in your shop, order one, just so you know. Just
you're building your business. There are some business expenses, and trust me, both myself and Starla started out this journey very, very poor. We understand that, you know, like we totally get it, but you want to make a good business. So sometimes you do have to not necessarily buy everything, but make sure what you're selling is good. And to do that, you have to have it in your hands, at least one of it.
And it's tax deductible for, you know, obviously talk to your accountants and whatnot, but you can usually write all of these off as business expenses if you're utilizing them for your business, taking photos of them, yada, yada. It's part of your business expenses. But I'm losing my voice, so that sounds like a good point to cut. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. If we didn't get to your question, you can either pop that into the eRank group, and one of our eRank staff members or helpful eRank community members will answer you. And if you want answers from Pam and I directly, we'll be here same time, same place on Thursday the 20th.
Goodness, yeah. And yeah, if we didn't get to you, we'll have a post in the Facebook group on Wednesday. You can throw in your questions there, and we'll make sure we get to those questions first. And join us next week. Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.
It wasn't easy, no, but with eRank, we're trending now. I dreamed of topping all the charts. I wanted sales to blow up. Remember long nights crafting, no one clicking on my stuff. But I signed up for eRank. Now my shop's a rising star.